haven't been in the garden with you guys for a while, so I thought I'd do a quick tour. Oh my gosh, I just turned around and Mama is here with her baby. This is so interesting because I've only seen one baby, and Tyler, when he sees two of them, but I've only seen the one. Hi guys. Will you get nervous if I go outside the fence here? It's okay, little buddy. He's still got his spots on him. And get close to Mama. Yeah, I wonder where the other little guy is. Oh, big yawn. Oh, big yawn. That's the sound they make when they call for their baby. And so maybe she's trying to get both of those guys over there with her. Okay, so we're here in the kale patch. One of the things that I had been wondering was whether I should plant just 2 rows in a bed, or if I could get away with 3 rows like I did in this older patch back here. And I have definitely decided that 2 rows in a 30-inch bed is the best thing for me, because these other ones, these older ones, they just are shooting up trying to compete for light, and so then I'm just getting a ton of stem, and these guys are just growing a lot of leaf, so I just think that's better. And also when I'm trying to look for like slugs or whatever in that patch over there, it is just so crammed together, it's really hard to see anything. I had thought I was having some slug damage earlier on, but then they kind of moved into the sugar snap peas and I didn't really see any slugs. But now I'm seeing a lot of caterpillar damage. I keep thinking that I'm on top of it. I've been like pulling off all the damaged leaves with the caterpillars, just stuffing them in a garbage bag and throwing them in the trash, which I've got to figure out a better solution than that. But last year I had chard and kale here, and the chard got hit really bad by the caterpillars. But the kale not so much at all. But this year it's just kale and they're just getting hit really bad. And I had just been thinking, well, you know, I don't have any place else to stick the kale, so I'm just going to grow them here again, and it can't hurt just 2 years in a row. So I think that there might be some sort of overwintering situation going on. I don't know. I was just assuming that it was a bunch of moths or butterflies or whatever coming in, but I'm thinking now maybe I had some stuff in my soil and that just tilling and whatever else didn't take care of it. And I also had a lot of birds seem to be helping me kind of come in and getting the moths and stuff, but I need a new place to put my kale. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep insect barrier on them all year round, because I have to worry about the root maggot fly, and then I have to worry about these caterpillar stuff that happens. But if I've got them in a clean place and I put an insect barrier over them, then they should be good. But my plan for slugs, I've been thinking, they moved, it seemed, from the kale over to the sugar snap peas when those started coming on, because they prefer that sweet, tender sugar snap pea leaf. So I am really considering, obviously I would have my sugar snap peas probably at the borders of my garden, but it's hard to find the slugs in them because they're so dense. I really need almost a crop outside, in a row outside, that they even prefer more. And so that something that I can kind of get in and look to find them. So that's kind of what I've been starting to think about as far as slugs. But anyway, I think that's it for kale today. I'm going to try and go through the kale, try and find as many caterpillars as possible, and just try and keep on top of it. But oh my God. Okay, so over to the sugar snap peas. This is my older batch, and all of the leaves underneath here and the vines are turning brown, and the peas are kind of speckled, so I can't really sell them. And these vines actually still have a few flowers on them, and it really made me paranoid because Tyler was talking about, oh, they just need to be watered, and that is one of the things that I feel the least confident about, is watering. So now I'm all paranoid. This morning I actually watered my newer sugar snap peas because I'm actually seeing some dead leaves and stuff at the bottom of those. But for these older ones, they've been in here since April, and last year, you know, I had kind of die off after a while for my vines too. When these leaves started dying off, then I started for the first time seeing slugs in the lettuce and the radishes. And so I think that, yeah, they're going to something that's kind of their second preferred crop. So let's talk about this little experiment with my spinach in these 2 beds here. Unfortunately, I introduced so many variables, it's hard to know what's going on. I planted some Corvair on this side and the other variety here, and then I planted, I can't remember what variety that was, and then I planted that same variety over here. Well, those aren't doing very well, but the Corvair is, but is also kind of more in the shade of the peas. So did the soil stay wetter? You know, but earlier in the season, the Corvair did the best of all the varieties that I tried too. So I think maybe Corvair is what I want to stick with. Yeah, but I am also seeing sporadic growth in the carrots in this under the insect barrier here. And so I'm thinking, you know, I didn't have that same problem with this original bed. They all grew, but I was very careful about planting them in kind of more finer soil and keeping them watered. And with the spinach and the new carrots, it was a rainy week, so I thought, oh well, they'll get watered in, but it probably wasn't very consistent heavy watering that they got, so I think that might also be the problem. Besides the fact that they're planted in this rotted seaweed, this really chunky, and maybe some of the seeds are having a hard time germinating in that. So let's see here. My older lettuces, actually, these are doing really amazing. But the red one here is bolting to seed. This is the green sweet, the red sweet bolting to seed, the green incised and red incised. And so then I should probably just pull these out and throw them in the compost. This is the newer patch. Same thing, green sweet, red sweet, green incised and red incised. And I actually did cut some of the lettuce out here, so that's why they all grew really nice, but I cut some for a salad. I am really liking the green sweet. It grows the best of all of them. It is amazing, and it comes back really quickly. But the red sweet, I don't know, it just doesn't seem to do as well. And I'm kind of almost thinking that maybe the red one I'll go with is this red incised, because yeah, it seems to do really nicely. So yeah, and then you know, I have been thinking, you know, forget the spinach. It's, you know, seems to be such a pain to grow. I'll probably try it again next year, but wouldn't it be just fine to have like a spring mix that has maybe 3 different types of Salanova? I go with my green sweet, my red incised, and something else, and just because boy, this lettuce is doing great, and if I can keep the slugs out of it, that'd be awesome. So then back here I have my parsley, my Italian parsley, and my curly parsley, and they're both doing fine. The cilantro, for the most part, all bolted to seed, except for this one's doing all right. And my 2 dill plants, this one bolted to seed, but this one's doing all right. Green onions are doing great. I'm gonna try these again next year too. These are all kind of bent. I probably just kind of smashed them when I was walking past them. But I harvested the bigger ones and sold them at the store. One thing I gotta remember, any of these green onions that had like their tubes clipped, you know, so it was open, there were caterpillars inside, growing inside those things. Gross, totally gross, man. So I've got to be careful about that. Anything that a bug can get into, I've got to get rid of that green onion. But other than that, they haven't been bothered, and they're doing really great. These carrots here, the older carrots that are growing really well, we've been gone, so I haven't been pulling them for salads that much, and I don't really want to sell them at the store just because I want to grow my carrots in way better soil so they have even better flavor and color for next year. But I think I'm going to stick with carrots because they seem to be doing good. I just need to make sure that they germinate well in some, you know, kind of a finer soil and plenty of watering to have them come up. So the only other thing I really talked about about is the radishes. This rock sand variety in the center is doing awesome, and I'm going to do those again. And yeah, so nice and big roots. The only thing is that slugs, these are a favorite of slugs, I guess. I looked up the list, and so I need to make sure that they don't get in here because they're actually eating the tops of the root, and I can't sell roots like that. And the only other thing is the potatoes back here, which is kind of the stepchild of my garden. I didn't really even hardly water them. I never put, permanent boxes around the cardboard that they were in. So they've just kind of been on their own, and they're not all that healthy. So we'll check at the end of the season what they look like, but they definitely did not get love and tender care. Let's go inside the greenhouse and I'll show you the basil real quick. This is my older patch of basil, which is doing really nice still. My dwarf sunflower, which doesn't look dwarf to me. I know it's smaller than other sunflowers, but gee willikers, this is not what I was expecting. And I started thinning this end out just so I can kind of check for slugs and also get some leaves off the ground and stuff like that. I've got to finish this patch, doing that to this patch right here. And then this is my newer patch of basil, even newer patch of basil. And then I had some little tiny guys left in the start trays that managed to survive, so I planted those too. And I've got the new drip hose set up now on this end, and I actually did a video about that. Actually how I put the drip kit together. So my plan for the rest of the season is actually, a lot of people are just going to plant some fall crops and things like that, but I think I'm going to call it good. I'm just going to take care of what I have here, and I really need to start doing some other projects for next season. Like I need to build a tool shed. I need to kind of clean out all my start containers and make sure they don't have slug eggs. I need to start working on the expanded garden area. So I think that I'm not going to take on any more planting projects. I do have footage from our trip to Telegraph in Canada, so I'll probably do a video on that at some point. Otherwise, it'll be just garden stuff and a few boat trips.